You cannot make this up. The Trump administration is rewriting history yet again, and it's about something far worse than January 6th. This week, we're seeing the now politically weaponized National Park Service removing an exhibit from the historic President's House in Philadelphia. Yeah, where George Washington lived in our nation's infancy. And they completely ignored the story of the other people that were living in that house, the slaves. Yeah, we know our founding fathers were slave owners. While opining on liberty, George Washington and the rest of the framers of our country denied that very concept, liberty, to the people that were cooking their meals, raising their children, and in some cases carrying their children, and cleaned their rooms and did everything else for them. Fortunately, the plight of enslaved people was something that the historic sites and national parks reminded us of. Developing a new country was complicated, it was messy, and it was done largely on the backs of those that had their very humanity stripped away from them. And our national parks told the story. And to me, if you can erase this important and dark chapter in our history, in the very place where America was literally born, you can erase it anywhere. And we're seeing it in Trump's America right now. Acknowledging slavery is politically inconvenient. It's all part of some coordinated federal effort to reframe how American history is presented to the public. They're retelling how Columbus got here and what he did to indigenous people, and now they're doing it to enslaved people. Let's look at this. Thus far, Trump and his regime have ordered the reviews of Smithsonian exhibits. They've pressurized museums to emphasize patriotic unity over factual history. They're attacking scholars who discuss racism as being anti-American. And yeah, we're seeing this 250th anniversary branding campaign built around myth and cage fights instead of truth. And on top of that, this goes along with Trump's unprecedented attack on our national parks. We've done videos on this, understaffing our parks, increasing fees, turning annual passes into propaganda, and not so subtly floating the idea that selling off our lands to developers, miners, loggers, and real estate tycoons are their best use. Public lands and historic sites are where Americans, millions of them, encounter history for the first time. History that they can see with their own eyes and they can touch for themselves. They do it on family trips, school field trips, summer vacations, and the Trump administration keeps systematically scrubbing any reference that's not convenient to them. References to slavery, indigenous people being displaced, racial violence in our history, attacks on LGBTQ communities, labor exploitation. And it's all being replaced with these vague concepts about our founding ideals and our shared values. Trumpian propaganda. That's all this is. And yeah, it does. It ties right into this Trump obsession with our 250th anniversary. Coins, monuments, pageantry, UFC fights at the White House. That's more important than telling the complex story of our country. And look, I don't know why it does, but it bugs me even more that this is happening in Philadelphia. It's not just another city. This is the symbolic center of American democracy. Independence Hall, the Liberty Bell, the Constitution. And to me, if you can strip slavery out of the story of Philadelphia, you can strip it out of textbooks in Texas and museums in Florida way easier. And it's all to tell this cleaner, whiter, simpler version of America. You know, it reminds me of the McCarthy-era loyalty tests. If your work makes people uncomfortable, you're accused of hating America. If you teach context and complexity, you're accused of indoctrination. And if you mention slavery, you are told to just move on. It is pure censorship wrapped conveniently in an American flag. If you question it, they are going to rant about white guilt and complain that you hate our country. But look, the reality is American history isn't pretty. And to love this country, you cannot ignore the full picture. You can't understand freedom without understanding who was denied freedom. When you erase the enslaved people who built and lived in the president's house, you're not protecting America, you're lying. And we've seen that lies make nations fragile just like Trump's ego. And to me, the most dangerous lie that a country can tell is that it has nothing left to learn about itself. Look, history, it's not fragile, but our democracy is.
Doesn't it seem like our feeds are getting filled with more and more BS right-wing MAGA content? It's no secret that all these top tech bros are in love with the current regime, so it's no surprise that independent left-leaning media is being squashed by the algorithm. If you like our content and content like us, it doesn't take long to click that thumbs up, share, comment, or subscribe. So please help us keep the truth alive.